Hey everyone, this is Steven here, back at it again with another video. In today's video, I plan on talking everything in the NFL sports card market. But before we get into that, if you enjoy this type of content and would like to see more in the future, please feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe. So now that we got that out of the way, we can get into the actual video here. There are a couple things I wanted to cover in today's video. The first one is that I wanted to look at some of the data from the past to try to get a better indicator of when we should expect some of these sports cards in the NFL card market to start to rise. And then the second thing I want to look at is to try to come up with a better understanding as to whether that still holds true or if we're still seeing that as of right now. And then the last thing I wanted to look at in the video is just look at some of the cards that have been trending up the most and then also down the most over the past 14 days in the NFL card market. So we can get started here with Patrick Mahomes. So to me, Mr. Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes II, is, to me, he is a generalization of how the NFL sports card market is going. So I think that if you look at Patrick Mahomes cards, this kind of gives you a broad idea of how the NFL sports card market is going. I am currently filtered on his PSA 10 Prizm 2017, so that's his rookie card. And I really wanted to highlight in this part here is you can see as of July of last year, and this is almost exactly about a year ago, and I know this was during a pandemic, so the trends could be a little different. I understand that, but I just wanted to highlight some of the trends that we saw in the past. As of beginning of July, his cards started creeping up pretty significantly. And then the beginning of August, this is when preseason is starting. We didn't have preseason last year, but there's kind of a lot of hype around football this time, and then they slowly started trickling down until midseason, and then when the playoffs hit, they started creeping back up again, and then they peaked in about the January timeframe, and ever since then they've been going straight down. So this follows for the most part the trend of most players in the NFL. And I did want to highlight one thing. If we look at the 2021 season here, so the season starts September 9th with the Cowboys against the Bucks. So that's going to be a great NFC game. I'm definitely excited for that. But that is officially when the NFL season starts, September 9th. And then we have about a month of preseason before that, so beginning of August. So that follows this trend that we saw at around July of last year, is kind of when we started seeing the rise in Patrick Mahomes cards and also a lot of NFL cards. And that's due to a lot of the hype that's built going into the season. So let's check out some other players and see what their cards are doing. So if we look at Josh Allen, kind of a similar story here, but his cards again started going up starting about July 8th. So exactly a year back from today, his cards started going up again. And then they went down as the hype started dying down, and then he made his playoff run, and he had a better season than expected. And ever since then, they've been trending down. So pretty similar trend for Josh Allen. But again, we are seeing that the NFL card market began growing up in about July of last year. So technically, we should be seeing some of these cards start going up here if we follow the same trends as we followed last year. So let's check another player here. And this is Lamar Jackson in his 2018 Prizm base rookie card in a PSA 10. So same trend we can see here. As of early July, his cards skyrocketed up until about August, and then ever since the season started, they've been going pretty much straight down. So they've been holding flat here for looks like the past 8 months or so. So similar trends for Lamar Jackson. Then if we look at Kyler Murray here, and this is his 2019 Prizm base in a PSA 10, his cards, again, as of July of last year, they started skyrocketing up. Towards later September, so a couple weeks into the season last year, they started going down. And they've been holding pretty flat since then. So some of the trends that we've been seeing as of last year is the NFL card market started trending up during OTAs, also preseason, even though we didn't have it last year. And then they really kind of hit their peak once the season started. So a lot of people were selling at the start of the season after realizing a lot of gains, basically due to all the excitement and hype built into the next season. So that's what we've seen in the past. And if that theory was still true, we would expect to see, as of right now, these cards to start trickling up if they follow the same trends as they did last year. However, and I know that a lot of people have already touched on this, I think one of the main issues is a lot of people have the assumption that everyone could be buying now or buying a couple months back, and then you'll just sell at the start of the season once there's a lot of hype. But I think the main issue with that is that a lot of people have that same philosophy and same methodology, So I think one of the issues that we could be running into is that everyone is going to be trying to sell cards come the start of the NFL season. So it could actually drive the prices down because it's just a supply and demand. The supply could be higher than the demand as everyone is trying to sell their cards at the same time. But that is just my personal opinion, and that I do think that that could play a small factor in this, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But as of right now, if the trends followed what they did in the past, we would start to expect to see a slight uptick leading up to the NFL season starting. But now that we got some of the charts and trends out of the way, we can go into some of the price movements by player. And for this, I filtered on football, PSA 10s, and then I filtered on number of sales, and I have that as 20, so that's the minimum number of sales requirement for this. And then we're looking at the last 14 days. So we're going to see some of the trends over the last 14 days in the NFL card market, and we can kind of see if that theory of the cards starting to go up is holding true or not. So we'll just take a quick look at some of the cards that are going up, and then we'll also look at some of the cards that are going down. So we'll start with some of the cards going up, and how this works is for Dak Prescott here, for example, he has an 8-card portfolio, and that 8-card portfolio is up 0.19%. So that's what this is saying. This is filtered on player, and then there's a specific number of cards in each player's portfolio, and this is just a total of each portfolio of cards. So Dak Prescott is pretty much flat. Joe Burrow is also flat. Josh Allen's seen a slight uptick at about 1.13%. Baker Mayfield's creeping up a little bit at about 2%. Daniel Jones is about 2.5%. Russell Wilson, my boy, is up about 2.8%, so a slight increase for Russell Wilson. Emmitt Smith's going up about 3%. Lamar Jackson's seeing a little bit of an increase. His cards are pretty cheap right now, so his cards, and this is a 17-card portfolio, has gone up about 3% over the past 2 weeks. And then if we go up here to some of the big winners, so we have Kyler Murray getting some love, up about 4%. Barry Sanders up about 7%. Peyton Manning surprisingly up about 11% for Big Peyton. Deion Sanders up 11%. Sam Darnold, Safe Space Sam, his 16-card portfolio is up about 12%. So I think people could be starting to get excited about him being on the Panthers. So we'll see if those gains continue. And we also have Tua on the Dolphins. His cards are up about 14% over the past 2 weeks. We'll see if he can have a bounce back season this year with the Dolphins. And then Drew Lock is a surprising one for me, but he is the biggest winner over the past 14 days. And his cards are actually up about 20%. And this is an 8-card portfolio. So I think that this could potentially be due to the fact that a lot of people thought that there's some trade options out there for Denver. Some people were speculating that maybe Aaron Rodgers would end up there, but it seems like a lot of that speculation has died down. So it does look like as of right now, Drew Lock could be the starter for the Broncos. So that could be one of the reasons why his cards are up close to 20%. And there is still a lot of hype built into the upcoming season. So that's most likely why his cards are up about 20%. But if you know anything else, please let me know down in the comments. But now that we checked out some of the biggest gainers, let's take a look at some of the biggest losers over the past 14 days. And that will be some of the cards that have gone down the most over the last 14 days. So actually a lot more winners than losers in this section. But if we start here at the bottom, looks like Haskins is down about 0.65%. We got Mahomes down about 1.6% in his portfolio. TB12, Tom Brady slightly down. We got McCaffrey down about 3%. Hurts is down about 4%. And Justin Herbert's, his cards are cooling off a little bit, down about 5% over the past 2 weeks. Aaron Rodgers down about 5% as well. A lot of people still speculating on what's going to happen to his season this upcoming season with the Packers. So that could have something to do with his downtrend in cards. If we scroll up here, with Brett Favre cards down about 12.5%. I thought that was pretty interesting. CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the Chiefs. His cards are down about 6%, but a pretty small portfolio of 3 cards. And then the biggest loser is not very surprising here, but this is Desean Watson. And his 12-card portfolio is down about 17% over the past 14 days. So his cards have taken a beating over the last couple months or so, which is very understandable with all the stuff going on with Desean Watson. But for the past 2 weeks, his cards are down about 17%. But overall, it does seem like the NFL card market is slowly starting to tick up a little bit. I'm not sure if we're going to see the large growth that we saw last year during the start of the season. Another thing that I would like to mention that I mentioned earlier is that, everyone is assuming that we're going to sell all of our cards at the beginning of the NFL season, but if everyone's trying to sell their cards, I'm not sure that there will be enough demand to keep up with the supply. So that'll be another thing to keep an eye on. But it does look like cards are slowly starting to trickle up. I'm just not sure that we'll see the exponential growth that we saw last year during the beginning of the NFL season. But with that being said, I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. I hope that you found it entertaining and also informative. If you did, please feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe. Thanks, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.